Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. This is Salim Akhtar Malik, your host at the Observation Post channel. On this channel, I discuss with you issues of national and international importance, important events from military history as well as military technology. You can discuss with me, you can rather interact with me on this channel by giving your views and comments, which help me in fine tuning my talks, which I deliver to you from time to time on this channel. You can also connect with me on Twitter, where my address is at Salim Akhtar 53. Before we proceed further, I request you to please subscribe to this channel. In this session, I'll be talking to you the situation for Pakistan in the wake of the United States withdrawal from Afghanistan. So we'll be talking about the implications for Pakistan while the United States and its coalition partners are in the process of withdrawing their forces from Afghanistan, and they say that they'll complete their withdrawal by the 31st of August. We all know that the United States had invaded Afghanistan a little more than 20 years ago in the aftermath of the 9/11 incident, where the terrorist organization Al-Qaeda had reportedly attacked the Twin Towers in New York. So the smoking gun was pointing towards Al-Qaeda, and the United States had demanded from Taliban, who were then ruling Afghanistan, to hand over Osama bin Laden, who was the Al-Qaeda mastermind, then hiding in Afghanistan. They had demanded to hand over Osama bin Laden to the United States, which the Taliban had flatly refused. And as a result, the American forces, along with their allies, formed a coalition and invaded Afghanistan. This happened a little more than 20 years ago, and they had invaded Afghanistan by declaring that they would not only punish and kick out the Taliban from Afghanistan, but also replace them with a democratic government, an inclusive government in Afghanistan. So they fought during all this period. It was the longest overseas war that America had fought anywhere in the world, and it cost them close to $800 billion in military efforts only. And even after spending so much physical as well as financial effort, they were not able to achieve their objectives. Their main objective was to remove Afghanistan or to make it safe for the governments which they had installed in Afghanistan. They were not able to do that, so they had started negotiations with the Taliban, the very Taliban whom they had wanted to dislodge, whom they tried to dislodge 20 years ago. They initiated a series of meetings with the Taliban in Doha, that is Qatar. And as a result of that, the meetings were inconclusive, but the United States decided to call it quits, and it started withdrawing its forces from Afghanistan. And that was the story in short. Now, before invading Afghanistan, United States had coerced Pakistan into providing the United States all help in the form of surrendering its airspace to the United States forces for the transportation of their forces as well as war material and that of their allies to the Afghan war zone. And they had also coerced Pakistan into providing them or allowing them to launch drone attacks in the tribal areas of Pakistan where the Americans alleged the Taliban had taken refuge and from where they were launching attacks against the American forces as well as the forces of its coalition partners in Afghanistan. So, according to, or in the words of the Pakistani military ruler at that time, who was General Pervez Musharraf, Pervez Musharraf said that America had threatened to bomb Pakistan into Stone Age in case it refused to provide help or to fulfill its demands to facilitate the American war effort in Afghanistan. So it was in that background that Pakistan provided its airspace and allowed the Americans to launch their drone attacks in the border areas of Pakistan. As I said, United States had spent close to $800 billion, and even after spending such a huge amount and after a large number of United States and its allies casualties, even then it failed to neutralize the Taliban. So why and how did it happen? If we look at the Afghan war in the recent past, in 1979, the Soviets had also invaded Afghanistan, and after spending almost a decade in Afghanistan and fighting the Mujahideen in Afghanistan, they had to leave this war-torn country without forcing the Mujahideen to succumb. And the same happened to the American forces after the Soviet withdrawal from Afghanistan. That is almost 2 decades after the Soviet withdrawal from Afghanistan. The same happened to the American forces in Afghanistan. And that is because both these forces, that is the Soviet forces as well as the American forces and the forces of their allies, relied heavily on air power and mechanized forces for ground operations. The Afghans, they did not have anything better to counter these forces except the World War II vintage bolt action rifles, or at best in 2001 RPG-7 anti-tank rocket launchers, which were a remnant of the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan. So with these primitive weapons, they held the American coalition at bay. Now we see that the mechanized forces, that is the tanks and the APCs, I mean the armored personnel carriers, provide a false sense of security to the tank and APC crews clustered inside these war machines and prevent them from getting out of the tanks and the APCs. Even in case of a static defense, the mechanized forces, that is the tanks, and the mechanized infantry cannot capture an objective without the mechanized infantry coming out of their APCs and engaging the defender in a hand-to-hand fight. After passing through the minefields, even the minefields if the defender had placed around the objective. So this is what the Soviets were averse to, and this is what the Americans were also averse to. That is, they did not want to come out of their tanks, and tanks they need not have come, but the APCs, the mechanized infantry, has to engage itself in a hand-to-hand fighting with the defender in order to capture an objective. Now, in this case, the Taliban and before them the Afghan Mujahideen who were fighting the Soviets did not present tangible targets to the adversary. They melted away after attacking the forces, they melted away into the environment, and the American forces and before them the Soviet forces, which captured an objective, would then move on, and the Afghans would come and reoccupy the positions. This is what happened during the Soviet era invasion of Afghanistan, and this exactly happened when the Americans invaded Afghanistan. And the Americans, they relied heavily on air power, that is bombing from fighter aircraft as well as strafing and bombing with the help of helicopter gunships. Now, air power is effective to a certain extent, but it creates more collateral damage than actual damage to the enemy. Colonel Imam, an ISI handler of Mujahideen, had commented that the Soviet troops were head and shoulders above their American counterparts, that is, the American soldiers who had streamed into Afghanistan in the wake of the United States invasion. So the Soviets were head and shoulders above the American soldiers, and the Afghans had defeated the Soviets. So if the Afghans had defeated the Soviets, they could easily have defeated the Americans also, and this is what actually happened. So the Americans are withdrawing. They are like America, the United States of America is like a wounded giant, and it is making a number of demands from Pakistan. And one of these demands, or the foremost demands, is to provide its territory, that is bases into Pakistan for Americans to launch operations against the regimes which they have installed in Afghanistan, or the regimes which will be installed in the future also, the puppet regimes which will be installed by the Americans in the future also. So this Pakistan has refused because of its past experience in which it had a roller coaster relationship with the United States. During the Cold War period, Pakistan was called the most allied ally of the United States. And it was a period when India, according to John Foster Dulles, the then Secretary of State of the United States, had commented that India had been sitting on the fence, and India was sitting on the fence hiding behind the facade or behind the cover of the enigmatic concept of non-alignment. So this time Pakistan, whereas India is its strategic ally, but India does not have contiguity with Afghanistan, as a result of which Pakistan plays a key role in American designs against Afghanistan and towards the Central Asia. So Pakistan has refused to provide bases, but then there are certain limitations, and Pakistan has to address those limitations. Firstly, Pakistan is constrained to provide its airspace to the United States because it is a major non-NATO ally, which makes it or which constrains it to provide its airspace to the United States, and an air corridor linking Qatar in the Gulf with Kabul, that is of the Afghan capital. So this air corridor linking Qatar with Kabul is there. It is an unbroken air corridor which the Americans had been using for the last 20 years and which they will continue using even after their withdrawal from Afghanistan. And this they will do for transportation of their forces as well as for transportation of the war material. And you would have heard that just yesterday, President Biden ordered airstrikes with B-52 bombers, airstrikes on the Afghan targets. So from where did these B-52s come? These came from the American bases in the Gulf, particularly from Qatar, and they used the Pakistani air corridor to reach Afghanistan and thereafter bomb the Taliban positions in Afghanistan. This will not end, this will not finish, and this will continue to happen. Likewise, Pakistan is being blackmailed by the United States because the United States controls the world financial organizations, and Pakistan is under tremendous pressure from the United States and its allies, particularly in FATF, that is FATF, World Bank and IMF, on which Pakistani economy, Pakistan's fragile economy is heavily dependent. So this makes Pakistan prone to American pressure, and then Pakistan is also in need of replacing its obsolete equipment with state-of-the-art or cutting-edge military technology which China cannot provide. China is our strategic partner and main provider of, or the major provider of defense equipment, but then the Pakistan Air Force and its army need upgrading their F-16 aircraft as well as replacing the Cobra gunship helicopters with state-of-the-art gunship helicopters, namely the Black Hawk American helicopters, which the Americans have embargoed on Pakistan. Likewise, Pakistan needs to address America's sensitivities about the CPEC, that is China-Pakistan Economic Corridor, which Pakistan is developing in cooperation with China to link China's Xinjiang province with the Gwadar port on the Indian Ocean. Now, very few people understand that CPEC has a the importance of CPEC has a direct connection with what is happening in the South China Sea, where America and China are confronting each other, and in this confrontation, India is India is America's strategic ally. So, goaded by the Indians, the Americans are providing COMCASA compatible equipment, electronic equipment to India to snoop on People's Liberation Army Air Force as well as People's Liberation Army Navy. That is, they are now capable of snooping on the submarine traffic of the Chinese Air Force as well as the Chinese Navy, which passes through the Strait of Malacca, a narrow waterway through which most of world shipping, commercial as well as military, passes on its way from Pacific and South China Seas to the Indian Ocean. Americans have also tasked the Indians to block the Strait of Malacca for Chinese shipping in case of a war between America and China. It is a harebrained scheme in which the Americans are encouraging India to be prepared for blocking the Malacca Strait, and they are saying that it can be easily blocked by India by parking a few Indian Navy ships at the mouth of the Malacca Strait. But they do not realize that if the Strait of Malacca is blocked or blockaded, it will be blockaded for all the maritime powers whose navies as well as commercial shipping pass through this waterway. So Pakistan needs to remove American apprehensions about the CPEC, which the Chinese have developed or are in the process of developing to bypass a future blockade of the Strait of Malacca. So now they have an alternate route through Pakistani territory through which they can transport their goods to the Indian Ocean by making use of CPEC, which I have said in the past also, that it is like an overland Suez Canal. So Pakistan needs to clarify American apprehensions about the CPEC and then should even invite the United States to join CPEC. This is all about what I wanted to say about the situation surrounding the neighborhood of Pakistan, where on the western border, the Afghanis are preparing themselves to launch operations. In fact, they have started launching operations by launching hit and run attacks against the Pakistani forces along the Pakistan-Afghan border. On the eastern border, there is India. So this is what I wanted to say in this session. See you in the next session with a new video and with a new topic. Till then, bye-bye.